Hello students, I welcome you all once again to online tutoring class for class 9 science. So in the last class, we started on a topic that is chapter number 5, biology portion, that is for fundamental unit of life. So in last class, we discussed that one very important unit of our life, that very tiny units, which that unit that is very small, which cannot be seen with our naked eye, and that unit we call it as a cell, right? So that cell is nothing but a fundamental unit of life, and cell is also the basic structural and functional unit of all living organisms. And we also discussed that cell is also called as the building blocks of all living organisms. And again, in the last class, we discussed about two categories of living organisms, that is multicellular and then unicellular organisms. So multicellular organisms means those organisms which have many cells, we call it as a multicellular organisms. So in multicellular organisms, different groups of cells perform different functions, whereas in unicellular organisms are those organisms which have only single cell, and that very single cell performs all the functions in the body that is required for the organisms to survive. So this is all what we discussed in our previous class. So in this class we will discuss, before that I want you all to turn your textbook to page number 63. So today we will discuss about what is cell made up of, or what is the structural organization of cell. That is in your textbook, that is page number 63. So what is cell? When I say what is cell made up of? So cell is made up of a components, we call it as cell organelles. Okay, so there are different cell organelles. We will be discussing them one by one, but if you see or if you study cell under the microscope, okay, if you see or study cell under the microscope, you will see three features, okay, three features in almost every cell. That means whether it is plant cell or whether it is animal cell, you will see these three features. Of course, there are also other cell organelles, but then there are some cell organelles which are present only in animal cells, and there are some cell organelles which are present only in plant cell. But these three features you will find it in every cell. That means whether it is plant cell or animal cell, and these three features is nothing but plasma membrane, nucleus and cytoplasm, and all the activities that is taking place inside the cell is because of these features, So let us discuss them. Let us discuss the structure of a cell in detail one by one. So the first structure is plasma membrane. Now, what is plasma membrane? Plasma membrane is a thin, delicate, so when I say delicate, it means it is rigid and it is hard, right? So it is a thin, delicate outermost covering of the cell. That means, say this is cell, okay? So this is cell, it may be a plant cell or animal cell. So for this is plant, okay, this is cell. So the plasma membrane means outer covering, right? So this is the outer covering. So this we call it as plasma membrane. And this plasma membranes, it ensures protection of the cell. That means it is just like the wall of our house, right? Or we can say it is just like the skin of our body. That means when we are inside the house, we feel protected, right? Why? Because we are surrounded by walls on every side. So likewise, plasma membrane is the outer covering, right? So it protects because of this plasma membrane, it protects the cell. And if we look a microscopic view of this any cell, that is whether it is a plant cell or animal cell, you will be able to see it very clearly or prominently, the plasma membrane. The outer covering is nothing but we call it as plasma membrane. And again, the second point on plasma membrane is selectively permeable. plasma membrane is selectively permeable membrane. So when I say selectively permeable membrane, that means, okay, let me first explain to you what is fully permeable membrane. Okay, so fully permeable membrane, it means membrane will allow everything to come in and go out of its membrane. Okay, that means fully permeable means it will allow every object to come in and out of its of the membrane. Whereas when I say here plasma membrane is selectively permeable membrane, that means plasma membranes will selectively allow a certain object to come in and out of its membrane. At the same time, it will not allow certain objects, to come in and out of its membrane. So as we all know that plasma membrane is the outer covering. That means it is just like a boundary, right? Or it is just like the wall of a house. So plasma membrane, it is a boundary, or it is a wall, or it is the outer covering. So if some objects want to come inside, or if some object want to go out of the cell, then it will have to cross, or it will have to pass through the plasma membrane, right? It will have to pass through the plasma membrane if it wants to go inside the cell or outside of the cell. And here selectively permeable membrane means plasma membrane will allow a certain objects only to go inside and or go out of the cell. So let us see how plasma membrane will allow things to pass in. There are two processes involved. There are two processes involved in the movement of the substance, and the two processes we call it as, one is diffusion and the other one is osmosis. There are two processes involved, that is diffusion and osmosis. So what is diffusion again? Diffusion is nothing but exchange of gases between cells, and also as well as cells and other environment. So here that means movement of gases from a region of higher concentration, okay, region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. That means here diffusion is nothing but gaseous exchange. Movement of gases from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration, this process we call it as a diffusion. So here we are talking about gaseous, right, gases. So let me give you one example. Say let us take oxygen here. So say there are two medium, okay, medium 1 and medium 2. There are two regions, that is region 1 and say region 2, we have a two medium. So let us say that this region 1 have high concentration of oxygen, and the region 2 has low concentration of oxygen. So what happens will, here in this case, the oxygen will start flowing from region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration, right? That means the oxygen will start flowing from region 1 to region 2. So this is the process of diffusion. And osmosis, okay, so this is the process of diffusion, that is the exchange of gases, that is movement of gases from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration, we call it as diffusion. And now what is osmosis? Osmosis is nothing but exchange of water. Exchange of water between cells and as well as cells with other environment, we call it as osmosis. The process is same, both diffusion and osmosis process is same, that is from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. The only difference is that in diffusion gaseous exchange takes place, whereas in case of osmosis water exchange takes place. So as I have said, plasma membrane, it is selectively permeable membrane, right? That means it will not allow everything or anything to go inside and go out of the cell. That means it will allow only gases and water to come in and go out of the cell. So in plasma membrane, it will allow only gas and water to go in and out of the cell. So this is all about plasma membrane. And the next is cell wall. Number 2 is, okay, now what is cell wall? This cell wall is present only in plant cell. I want you to all to remember that. This cell wall is present only in plant cell. That means it is absent in animal cell. Okay, so why it is in plant cell, there is an additional covering, or there is an additional rigid protection that is outside the plasma membrane. As I have said, this is a cell, this is a plasma membrane. So in plant cell, outside the plasma membrane, again we have a one outer additional rigid covering. We call it as cell wall. So why the plants have an additional covering? Why do plants have additional covering whereas animals do not have an additional outer rigid covering? Is because we all know that the plants are very delicate. Plants are more flexible as compared to animals or living animals or human being, and also the plants, they cannot move from one place to another, right? And they cannot protect themselves, and that is why they have an additional outer covering or rigid covering, and we call it as cell wall. And this cell wall gives strength to the plant and prevents cell from bursting. And also, unlike this plasma membrane it is selectively permeable membrane, right? Whereas in case of cell wall is a fully permeable membrane. That means it allows everything and anything to pass through it. So this is all. Okay, now we'll come to the next, that is nucleus. Okay, and so the next is nucleus. So if you try to see, okay, you can turn to page number 67, that is figure 5.5, you have animal cell, and next page, that is page number 68, in figure 5.6, you have there is a plant cell. So I want you all to look and refer there and locate whatever I am explaining. So the next is nucleus. So if you look at the cell, okay, if you look at the cell, you will always be able to notice a structure which is somewhat spherical in shape. Okay, that is somewhat spherical in shape, that is located just towards the center, not exactly at the center, but then it is towards the center, spherical shape, and that we call it as nucleus. Okay, so nucleus is spherical shape and it is located towards the center, and nucleus is present in both plant cell and animal cell. And nucleus is also called the control center of the cell. Nucleus is also called control center of the cell. Why it is called control center of the cell is because it controls all the functions and it also controls many activities. And there are two very important functions this nucleus performs is it helps in movement and reproduction. Okay, so when I say reproduction means it helps in the cell reproduction, means from the cell theory we know that every cell arises from a pre-existing cell, right? That means one cell will divide to form another two new cells. Again, these two new cells will again divide to form another two new cells. That means all the cells are all the cells arise from the pre-existing cell. Again, it will again further divide, it will go on dividing. So this is called cell division. So this nucleus helps in cell reproduction. Again, when I say movement, means this nucleus helps the substance to move the nucleus Okay, this nucleus helps the substance to move from nucleus to outside of the cells, which becomes very important for the survival of the cell. And because of these two important functions, we can say that nucleus is the control center of the cell, or simply we can say that this nucleus is the brain. Okay, just like our brain, this nucleus is the brain of the cell. So let us quickly go to the next cell organelles. The fourth one is cytoplasm. So now what is cytoplasm? Cytoplasm is a jelly-like semi-fluid membrane, okay, that is present inside the cell. That means it is a sticky like jelly-like, means it is a sticky-like, and this cytoplasm is a fluid-like, and this fluid is present inside the everywhere. That means, for example, this is cell, a fluid like that is present everywhere in the cell. That means if we look if you look, turn your page to 67, and then the figure, in figure 5.5, that is animal cell, the green light color, all the green light color is nothing but the cytoplasm. And since cytoplasms are present everywhere in the cell, many cell organelles are present within the cytoplasm. Okay, many cell organelles are present within the cytoplasm. That means this cytoplasm provides a platform so that the other cell organelles can stay in. And okay, so this is all about cytoplasm. And then the next cell organelles is endoplasmic reticulum. Number 5 is Now what is endoplasmic reticulum? Endo means inside, okay. Endo means inside, plasmic means related to cytoplasm, and this reticulum means network. So now again, what is network? Network is nothing but, network means not single, right? It is interconnected. Anything which is interconnected, we call it as network. So we can define endoplasmic reticulum as a network of something, okay? A network of something that is present inside the cytoplasm, we call it as endoplasmic reticulum, or we can define endoplasmic reticulum as complex network of membrane-bound tubules, which are present inside the cytoplasm. That means this endoplasmic reticulum is a tube-like structure. It is a tube-like structure, and the tube-like structure is not single, but here network means interconnected, right? They are not single, but they are interconnected with each other. And this endoplasmic reticulum, they do not have a specific shape and size. That means they look different in different cells depending on what functions they are going to perform. Again, this endoplasmic reticulum is again further divided into two types, that is rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, so now what is rough endoplasmic and then what is smooth endoplasmic reticulum? Rough endoplasmic reticulum means, just by name itself, rough means it is not smooth, right? That means the surface is not smooth. So on the surface area of the rough endoplasmic reticulum, ribosomes are attached. And that is why because of those ribosomes, the appearance of this rough endoplasmic reticulum looks rough. And that is why we call it as rough endoplasmic reticulum. And these ribosomes that are attached in the rough endoplasmic reticulum, it manufacture protein. Okay, that means this ribosome is just like a factory of a protein, right? That means in ribosomes, it manufacture proteins. That means protein formation takes place in these ribosomes. And since proteins are needed for survival of all the cells. So these proteins are transported by both rough endoplasmic reticulum and then smooth endoplasmic reticulum. First to the ribosomes will manufacture proteins, and then it will be transported. It will transported to rough and then to the smooth endoplasmic reticulum and then to different parts of the cell. So in rough endoplasmic reticulum means ribosome is attached, and because of that it is called rough endoplasmic reticulum, and right in this ribosomes it manufactures proteins. So, whereas in case of smooth endoplasmic reticulum is just the opposite of that. It is smooth because surface area is smooth. There is no ribosomes is not attached in this smooth endoplasmic reticulum, and so we call it as smooth endoplasmic reticulum. And in smooth endoplasmic reticulum, lipids and fats are manufactured in smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Again, one important functions or one important thing about endoplasmic reticulum is that this endoplasmic reticulum helps to detoxify poisons and drugs. Endoplasmic reticulum helps to detoxify poisons and drugs. It means, for example, let me give you an example. Drinking or consuming too much of alcohol causes damage to the liver. Now the question here is, why it damage only the liver and not other organs? That means why it does not damage the other organs. So why? Because whenever alcohol is taken inside our body, that means whenever alcohol is taken inside our body, a lot of poisonous and a lot of toxic substances get introduced into our body. That means this alcohol, it contains a lot of poisonous substance, right? But it never happens that when somebody consumed alcohol and then immediately he died. It never happens, right? Why? Because whenever there is an intake of alcohol, the liver take up the process of detoxification. That means this liver tries to detoxify body, or say we can also say it tries to reduce the effect of toxic substances in the body. And in order to help the liver, again here smooth endoplasmic reticulum plays a very important role here. So in order to detoxify the poisonous substance, this smooth endoplasmic reticulum will increases its surface in order to increase the detoxification process, so that the detoxification will happen faster. Okay, and after the detoxification is done, again this smooth endoplasmic reticulum will return to its normal size. So this is how it helps, this endoplasmic reticulum helps to detoxify poison or detoxify drugs. So again, the next cell organelle is that we are going to discuss now is Golgi apparatus. Number 6 is now what is Golgi apparatus? So this Golgi apparatus was named after Camillo Golgi, the one who discovered this Golgi apparatus. So Golgi apparatus is nothing but a membrane-bound vesicles, membrane-bound vesicles arranged parallel to each other in a stacks. We call it as Golgi apparatus, and looks-wise, this Golgi apparatus looks similar to that of endoplasmic reticulum. So in endoplasmic reticulum, it is nothing but membrane-bound tubules, right? Whereas in case of Golgi apparatus, it is membrane-bound vesicles. So the vesicles are lying parallel to each other in a stacks, and these stacks we call it as cisterns. It looks like this. That means the Golgi apparatus. The structure of the Golgi apparatus looks somewhat like this, like a stacks, right, parallel to one another. So, and this Golgi apparatus are located near the nucleus in animal cell, whereas in case of plant cell, they are freely distributed, okay. And in animal cell, we call it as Golgi apparatus, whereas they have a different name in plant and animals, okay. So in animal cell, we call it as Golgi apparatus, whereas in plant cell, we call it as Diffusion. And one important functions of this Golgi apparatus is that it acts as an assembly area for the storage, for processing, and then for packaging of various cellular secretion. As we all know that in endoplasmic reticulum, it manufactures so many substances like protein, fats, and then lipids, right? So when these substances are getting manufactured, they are needed by different parts of the body. They are needed by different parts of the cell, so they need to reach to different parts of the cell, right? So in order to reach to the different parts of the cell, these substances have to be packed first. And then these substances have to be packed first, and then it will be transported to other parts of the cell. So that means they are packed in the vesicles, and then it is dispatched to various parts of the cell. So packaging and transporting is taken care by this Golgi apparatus. And the next cell organelle is lysosomes. Now the lysosomes are nothing but a membrane-bound vesicles which contains a variety of digestive enzyme. Lysosomes are membrane-bound vesicles which contains a variety of digestive enzyme. So to take care of any inappropriate digestions, we have lysosomes, right? So that means this lysosome is also like a vessel. It is also like a vessel, and inside the vessels there are variety of digestive enzymes. So for example, this is a cell, okay, this is a lysosomes, and it is bounded by a outer covering, and inside the lysosomes there are varieties of digestive enzymes. So this is how lysosome looks. And let us see some of the functions of these lysosomes. So the first functions of these lysosomes is it digests the waste material and also the worn out organelles. That means since it contains a lot of digestive enzyme, right? It contains a lot of digestive enzymes inside the body, and that is why the digestive enzyme helps to digest the substance, digest the material which are not digested elsewhere in the cell. That means it is capable of digesting any waste material or any worn out cell. That means if a cell got damaged, if any cell got damaged, this digestive enzyme that is present inside this vesicle will digest the damaged cell. And the second function of lysosomes is it provides defense against bacterial and viral infection. That means again, since it has a variety of digestive enzyme, it does not allow it does not allow the body to cause indigestion, or it does not allow the body to any kind of infection to spread. So this is the again second function of these lysosomes. And the third function is it is the waste disposal system of the cell. Now here waste disposal system means what? Why it is called waste disposal system is because all the waste materials are being digested in this, all the waste materials are being digested by this lysosomes, and that is why it is known as waste disposal system of a cell, or simply we can say that it is the dustbin of the cell. And the last function of this lysosome is it is also called as the suicidal bag of a cell. Suicidal bag means suicide means killing oneself. That means if some cell get damaged, okay, if some cell get damaged, then the lysosome membrane will burst out. And due to the bursting of this lysosome membrane, the enzymes will eat up the entire lysosomes, and that means it is just like killing itself, right? And that is why this lysosomes is also known as suicidal bag of the cell. And the next cell organelle is mitochondria. The next cell organelle is mitochondria. So this mitochondria, mito means thread and chondria means granule. Okay, so this mitochondria is nothing but there are thread-like structures with granules in it, and this mitochondria is enclosed by two membrane, that is inner membrane and outer membrane. The outer membrane is smooth and porous, whereas inner membrane are folded. Okay, they are folded and not smooth. That means it have curves and it have turns, and because of that folds, it provides a greater surface. It provides a greater surface to the structure to generate ATP. Now here what is ATP again? ATP is nothing but adenosine triphosphate, and this ATP is the one which is being used as an energy. That means ATP is nothing but an energy, right? So ATP is nothing but an energy that is produced in the this is an energy that is produced in the form of ATP molecules, and this mitochondria is also known as powerhouse of the cell. Why it is called powerhouse of the cell? Because it generates energy in the form of ATP molecule, and that is why it is called as powerhouse of the cell. And this mitochondria can synthesize their own protein. That means this mitochondria can synthesize their own protein because they have their own DNA and then ribosome. That means they are not dependent on the proteins that has been manufactured by this endoplasmic reticulum and then carried over to Golgi apparatus, right? That means they are not dependent on other proteins, and that means they can synthesize their own proteins because they have their own DNA and ribosomes. And now the next cell organelle is plastids. What is plastid again? This plastid is present only in plant cell, okay? And this plastid is again of two types, that is chromoplast and leucoplast. So chromoplast is nothing but a colored plastid, we call it as a colored plastid, and then leucoplast is a colorless plastid, no color. So what again, let us see what is leucoplast and then what is chromoplast in detail. So as I have said, leucoplast has no color, and it helps in storage of food material. In case of this plant cell, this leucoplast helps in the storage of food material. In plants, storage of food material is very important. Why? Because we know that the plants, they prepare their own food by process of photosynthesis, right? So after preparing their own food, the food need to be stored somewhere so that it can be utilized by different parts of the cell. So for this purpose, leukocyte is being used. Now the next types of this plastid is chromoplast. Chromoplast, as I have said, it is a colored plastids, okay? Chromoplasts are those plastids that are responsible for imparting colors to different imparting specific colors to different parts of the plant. We all know that most of the color of this leaf is green, right? And also the say tomato is red in color, and also say sunflower is yellow in color. So all these different colors which are seen in different parts of the plant is due to this chromoplast. And the last one is vacuole. This vacuole is nothing, it is a fluid-filled membrane-bounded sac. It is a fluid-filled membrane-bounded sac. This is just, this is like a vessel, okay? This is like a vessel which are filled with a fluid inside it, and vacuoles are small in size in case of animal cells, whereas in case of plant cells, they are large in size, and not all the animals have a vacuole. Only some, in some animals they have a vacuole, and those animals which have vacuoles are like amoeba, and cilia, and then this amoeba have more than one vacuole, like they have a food vacuole to in order to intake the food. Again, they have a contractile vacuole which helps in the contraction and all. So again, in case of plant cell, this vacuole act as a storage of water, okay, and because of this, they act as a storage of water, and because of this, they are large in size. And also in animal cell, again, this vacuole helps in maintaining the water balance. That means if there is an excess of water in the cell, this vacuole will expel out some of the water from the cell, and if there is a shortage of this water, then this vacuole will again store some water, and that is how it maintains a water balance. So these are all different types of cell organelles that are found in a cell, and so we can say that cell is the structural and functional unit of all living organisms, and cell is the fundamental unit of life. So with this, we have completed this chapter. Thank you.